See, I know what it's like to go through the motions, and I know what it's like, man, to have the pressure of acting and talking and looking a certain type of way and fitting in with certain groups and crowds and cliques of people, and the pressure from the community and the pressure from the people around us, the pressure from those peers wanting us to maintain these images. And man, if we were 100% real, raw, truthful, and honest, even though we don't like to admit it, man, we care so much about what people think about us. And if we're not careful, we find ourselves trying to meet the expectations of everybody else. And it's not wrong to have people have expectations on us. But at the end of the day, man, if you're only focusing on what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to become, it's going to have all this anxiety attached to it because we fall short. And I had to learn the hard way, man. We are all beautifully broken somehow, some way. We've all got stuff, man. And it's not about you being perfect. And it's not about your performance all the time. It's about daily progress because nobody can judge you if you're applying yourself with your effort. You only know you. And you can sell yourself short this year if you want to. And you can cut the corners if you want to. And you can do just enough to get by if you want to. But I promise y'all, man, as you guys grow up and as you continue to mature and as you look back in the rearview mirror of your life, if you don't take control and understand that this is your moment, and if you don't take control of this, man, regrets, thoughts of, man, I wish I should have and I could have, and only what if, they will come alive. But man, you're at a place and a space in all of your lives right now that you control your destiny and nobody can take it from you. And I want you to dream big and dream outlandish and set goals and benchmarks that seem sometimes even too far to attain, because I promise you, your dreams and your goals, they shouldn't come easy. And if dreams and goals and things you want to pursue and things you want to become, if they're coming easy, I'm challenging you to set the bar even higher because you can press yourself and you can grow. And it's tough, man. Grow and change and becoming the better you, it's not comfortable. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable, but change takes change. And nobody can change without being a little bit uncomfortable. And the reason a lot of us don't change our attitudes, our behaviors, how we treat each other is because we don't like to be uncomfortable. It's easier to go back to being who we've always been. But man, that's never going to give you your destiny. I'm passionate about these things, man, because I mean it. I've lived it. I've walked both sides of the aisle. A lot of y'all know that. If you don't remember exactly, I come from a broken family. My moms and my dad set me down at a young age, and my dad was ripped out of my life, and he was my icon, and he was my mentor, and he was my role model, and he was yanked out of my life. And man, I blamed him for all of my hurts and all of my pains, and I wore my mask, and I walked the walk, and I talked the talk, and I acted like I was okay, and I went through the motions, and everything on the surface looked so picture perfect, but below the surface was hurts and pains and anger and frustration and wounds, but I was so afraid to talk about it. And I thought keeping my mask on and letting everybody think that on the surface that I was okay was going to keep me safe, but at the end of the day, it was the very prison that was enchaining me, man. And I had to learn the hard way that we're beautifully broken and we're better together. And every single person has stuff. And the more that I don't isolate and don't try to become an island and do this on my own, man, we are better together and we need each other. Every student in here, you need your classmates, you need your friends, you need mentors and teachers and parents in your lives. And even though sometimes, man, we think in our culture we can figure this thing all out, I promise you, you need not only friends on a horizontal plane, you gotta have people in your life on a vertical plane that can speak into your life, that's walked through some challenges in the life, and that can help you from making the same mistakes that maybe they've made. And I used to fight against that, man. I was so against allowing any kind of influential authority figure in my life because I thought they were trying to control me. But now as I turn around on the hindsight, I realize those people were just trying to prevent me from making the same mistakes that they made. And if I could go back and yield to some of those words of wisdom, I promise you I would. But I wore my mask. And I went from middle school to high school. And I compromised myself. And what I mean by that is I gave in to the peer pressure of the people around me. When I went from middle school to high school, I had some great friends in my life. But man, those friends were the popular kids, so I thought I had to change up who I was to fit in. I changed up who I was so all of you would accept me and all of you would like me and I would fit the molds and the types of the people that you thought I was supposed to become. And I walked away from real friends that value me. Biggest mistake in my life. And as I began to hang out with the new crew and the new crowd and the new cliques of kids, they didn't value me. And I'll tell you what, who you spend time with, they will influence your life. And I began to create some terrible habits and how I treated people, because hurting people hurt people. And y'all know that. A lot of us, we can call it bullying, but let's call it what it really is. It's verbal, mental, and emotional abuse, and it's wrong. Hurting people hurt people. And so a lot of times, some of us come to school and we act like we just don't care, and we act like we got this thick skin and with this attitude like we're good, we're cool, and we laugh and we pick on kids and we get our friends to laugh at our jokes. But when you yank all the smoke and the mirrors away and it's just you by yourself, you don't like who you see because you're hurting and you don't know how to deal with your hurts and your pain, so you lash out and you hurt people. And for some of us, we battle with thoughts of giving up, suicidal thoughts. I know I did. In school, I wore my mask and I dealt with thoughts and maybe nobody cares about me, nobody believes in me. And I remember when I climbed the ladder and I was on the brink of taking my own life. And for some of us, we turn to self-harm because we wear the mask and we don't know how to deal with our hurts and our pains and our emotions, and we see others doing it, so we turn to self-harm. And others of us, we turn to drugs and to alcohol, and we give into the pressure of wanting to get faded and to get blue back and kind of meet the expectations of what everybody else in my school's doing. And so we gave in, we compromised ourselves because we wanted to fit in. But then we began to realize it was a great coping mechanism so how I didn't have to deal with my hurts and my pains. And it became how I self-medicated. And I would use the drugs and I would pop the pills and I would do my thing, wanting to hopefully make all the hurts and the pains go away. But the pressure was building and the pressure would bust the pipes, and I would wake up every day just as unhappy. So I go back to the bottle and I go back to the weed and I go back to the pills, trying to always find the reason for my hurts. And see, a lot of us, we wear these masks and it comes out in different ways. And for me, I dealt with all of that. For me, straight A's to straight F's, and y'all know the story. A little bit of a reminder, you can't see the picture that well, but it's right here. The picture on your left, you really can't see it at all, but that's me at 18, 19 years old, strung out, tore up from the floor up. I compromised myself, gave in every drug that I could think of, and I found myself kicked out of school. And ultimately, I was involved in a terrible accident. And my friend Priscilla, she lost her life. You know the story, I've been here enough. And I found myself at 23 years old, back against the wall, and not only had my choices and now affected me, and not only had my choices up to this point of being so afraid to use my tools of communicating and talking and reaching up and reaching out and crying out for help and understanding that we're better together and no one's an island, we need each other. Now my choices and my decisions began to spiral out of control, and it affected other families too. And so for all of you that remember this first couple year talks, we went through all of that last year. And I want to state this as we get going today for this next layer, this next level, this thing that I call the 5 that's changed my life. If you're in this room and you're battling with thoughts of giving up, and if you're in this room and behind the mask there's thoughts of maybe nobody cares about me, nobody values me, nobody sees me, I don't see a way out. I don't know how to sugarcoat it, but I just say it. Don't you dare believe the lie. Don't you believe that dying will solve anything. You were born for a purpose. You have a mission in this world. People care about you. And even though sometimes you feel like you're all alone, your feelings can lie to you. Don't you believe the lie that giving up will solve it, because you matter. People care about you. And even though you don't always feel it, your feelings can lie to you. And I can prove it. Because I know sometimes in our culture and this generation, we feel like we're all by ourselves. We feel like nobody understands us. We feel like we're all alone. And let me ask this question. I need every junior and every freshman in this room to own this question. And I don't care about the friends that are around you. This is you and me, and this is real, man. And it is raw. And this is our life, and this is our future. How many of you in here, if you were 100% honest with yourself, truthfully being genuine with your feelings and your emotions, are there times in your story, in your life, do you sometimes feel honestly like nobody understands you? And honestly, sometimes you feel like you're all by yourself? Raise your hand. Hold them high, man. And hands go up all across the room. You know why? Because even though we feel like we're all alone, you're not the only person who feels like that. Hands were everywhere. Many of us feel the way you're feeling. Adults feel the way you're feeling. People feel the way you're feeling. But what you can't do is be impulsive and think that making a forever decision to end it solves it. It doesn't. You're robbing you of your destiny. You're robbing people around you that believe in you. I promise you, there is a fear of talking. But when you begin to talk, and I know there's a fear sometimes of, man, what will happen if I say this? This is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and what if, and what if, and what if? We what if, and this anxiety thing grows. And 99.9% of the times, when you actually talk about it, it never turns out nearly as bad as what you think it is. It's that fear of the unknown. I promise you, I ripped my mask off 10 years ago, man, and I've never experienced more freedom, more success, more peace of mind. I've realized life isn't about just existing. It's about experiencing all that life has for us. And in this room is greatness. I promise you. And for me, my wreck happened. 23 years old. I go to prison for 15, sentenced to 15 years in prison. And it would have been real easy for me to throw in the towel. It would have been really easy for me to say, you know what, I give up. I come from a broken family, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, eating disorders. I've been homeless. I found myself sleeping on the streets. I stole from friends. I had been labeled by everybody around me. I battled drug addictions, you name it. I had experienced it. It would have been real easy if there was anybody that could have said, you know what, my past is bigger than my future. I give up. It would have been me. But I remember something that my father taught me when I was that kid. When he told me at the end of the day, Nathan, as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's hope in your heart, don't you dare quit. And he taught me that through that basketball experience that I had when he beat the brakes off of me playing basketball. And he told me at the end of the day, Nathan, don't compare yourself. Don't give up. See the problem? He was the problem keeping me from reaching, making buckets and making goals. And he said, listen, Nathan, see the problem, identify the problem, then figure out the solution. Don't let the problem consume you. Be consumed with answers and solutions, and you don't stop until you figure it out. Giving up is not an option. And so today, this year 2 talk, this year 3 talk, this talk that I'm about to give on to you guys, man, these are things that I have learned in the last 10 years of my life. When I got released in 2013, 6 years ago. I didn't do 15 years. I got released 11 years early. Why? Because first off, I took control of my life. And what I mean by that, I know as young men and as young ladies and as people, there are things that happen to us that we have no control over, no influence in. We didn't ask for it. We just have to deal with it. Broken families, losing loved ones, verbal, mental, and emotional, physical abuses that have happened to us. Some of us have experienced real tragic, traumatic, difficult situations that we didn't ask for, but it was like somebody put this plate of food and puts it right in front of you and says, this is your life, deal with it. And you're like, man, I don't want it, but it's yours to figure it out. And for some of us, we've had to deal with life consequences because of our poor choices and our poor decisions, and we put our back against the wall because of some of the poor mistakes that we've made, and we got to kind of own those. And when I went to prison, and it would have been really easy for me to say, you know what, I give up. I didn't ask and deserve some of these things. Some of these things were my own poor choices, my wreck, my accident, my drugs, my addictions. But I didn't ask for my mom and my dad to be broken out of my family. But you know what I realized, y'all? I was allowing things that I had no control over to control me. I used to blame my dad for everything growing up as a kid. I blamed him for my attitude. I blamed him for my drug use. I blamed him for how I treated others. I blamed him when I skipped school. He was my excuse for everything. And at the end of the day, I had no control over that situation, but I was giving it all the control over me. I had to first off recognize something. I'm not going to allow things that I have no control over to control me. I can control how I react. I can control how I respond, and I can control what I do going forth. I took control of my life. Make good choices, great things happen. Take ownership. Stop making excuses. You know what our culture lacks right now? We lack the ability to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and forgive me. We want to put blame on anybody else and everybody else around us. I've learned when I've made mistakes, I just own it, man. Not because at the end of the day I'm embarrassed, but I know we're all beautifully broken. We all make mistakes. We've all got stuff somehow, some way. And I've learned my mistakes set me up for future wins because I don't lose in life. I win or I learn. I win or I learn. And I may make a mistake, but I own it radically, emphatically. I don't play the blame game. If I was wrong, I make it, I claim it, and I move forward. Because at the end of the day, man, life's about progress. And so for me, 2009, when my wreck happened 10 years ago, I wrote those words, and this is kind of what we talked about at the end of last year for some of us, the juniors. I wrote those words, change the world, slapped on my little prison wall. And I decided then to take control of my life. Priscilla's family, they asked me to do two things. First off, they radically forgave me, and I don't know why. They forgave me, and that's a whole other story for another day, for another talk, for another venue. But this family forgave me, and they said, Nathan, we don't think that one dumb choice should destroy two families' lives. But they asked me to do two things. Don't let our daughter die for nothing, and try to make the world a better place. And I said yes, and I didn't even know what that meant. But I know when I went to that prison, at the end of the day, I wasn't going to look at my circumstances. I wasn't going to look at everything around me. At the end of the day, I was going to be present in the moment, present with my current reality, and absolutely do the best that I could to grow day in and day out with personal growth and personal development. When I came against things that I didn't agree with, or I came against people that I didn't agree with, or I came against an authority at the prison, man. I used to buck authority all the time. I hated authority, but when I had to realize something at the end of the day, if I can't learn to respect people, if I can't learn to respect those around me, if I can't learn to respect the people who are in charge of me, how am I ever going to learn to respect my dream? Because if you don't respect that dream, that thing that's inside of you, and you know what that thing is, that thing that you're passionate about, that thing that if you could do anything in the world, that would be your reality, that would be your future. That thing that's big, that dream that's massive, that thing, if you don't learn to respect people, you're never going to learn to respect that dream. Because unless you respect your dreams and give them your time, your effort, your sacrifice, your focus, unless you're willing to actually take the time to invest in that dream, it's never going to become real. It's called respect. And the best way I've learned to respect my dream was to respect people. The best way I've learned to respect myself was respect people. Letting people's lives have value and understanding that people that can speak into my life, that can help me learn, man, that's tough. Dude, that was the hardest part that was the hardest thing I had to deal with. So here I was in prison, facing 15 years. I wrote Change the World, slapped it on my bathroom mirror. And I didn't realize it, but I developed these 5 habits in my heart and my mind that's changed my life. I call them the 5. And it wasn't until about 18 months ago that I realized I had developed these attitudes and these characteristics and these habits that's helped me be 10 years sober. That's helped me be 10 years since I've thought of it in my life. That's helped me be 10 years since I've self-harmed. It's helped me be 10 years since I've had an eating disorder. That's helped me 10 years overcome depression, anxiety, all these issues. It's these habits that I've developed, and I've now recognized it was these things that I was intentional of wanting to be better at. It's changed my life. And I call them the 5, and they're simply this. I learned to be transparent. I learned to be accountable. I learned to work hard. I learned to make good choices, and I had to value people. Those 5 things will change your life forever. And those aren't 5 things for you to learn to do when you graduate college, or when you learn to graduate, when you're often beginning your career and after your first mistake. Like, these are 5 things right now as high school students you can begin to say, I want to develop on these each and every day. And I call it the 5, and it's changed my life. Learning to be transparent, accountable, hard work, good choices, and value people. You see, when I talk about being transparent, Transparency literally means see-through. I had to live a life that I understood something, that if I wouldn't allow people to see my hurts, my pains, and my struggles, if I wouldn't live a life that was somewhat see-through, where light and vision and people could see some of my shortcomings, where I had to also find the courage to talk about my hurts, my struggles, and my pain. Transparency really is this. It's taking off the mask and the fake smiles and the fake faces and acting like you just don't care, but being honest and truthful with somebody in your life, that mentor, that coach, that trusted, caring adult, those best friends, where you're willing to be transparent and speak up and speak out and understand that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to own them. I learned to live a life that was transparent. And you know why? Unless we're willing to be transparent on some of those character defaults that we have, maybe they're your bad attitudes, your procrastination, how you treat people, your addiction, whatever it is. Until I learned to be transparent. The opposite of transparent is being condensed and having the mask where you can't see. People can't help you if they don't know. And if you're not really ready to change and to let it go. A lot of us say, you know what, Nathan, I hate my anxiety. You know what, Nathan, I hate my depression. You know what, Nathan, I want to stop the addiction. You know what, Nathan, I've been self-harming, but I'm struggling to quit. You know what, Nathan, I want to change this. I know I got a bad attitude. A lot of us will talk about it, but we're so afraid to take the steps called accountability, where you allow people to speak into your life. See, accountability isn't you giving people permission to hold you accountable and get you into trouble. Accountability is for you, because you've already decided there's some areas in your life that you want to change. And change takes intentional choices to be different. And so if there's some things that if you were honest and you gave yourself a real assessment and you were like, you know what, truthfully, I know I got a bad attitude. You know what, truthfully, man, there's an addiction that I've been battling with and I want to get off, but man, I'm struggling. Many of us that battle with self-harm, there's been many of times you've wanted to stop, but you struggled and you can't seem to stop because you've created a poor habit. And many of us who battle those thoughts of giving up, man, you're so afraid to actually let somebody help hold you accountable and to walk through that with you. See, when I began to be transparent and to air my stuff out, and to find trusted, caring adults, a mentor, a coach, a friend. When I began to be that person, and I'm not saying you go out here and talk to any random Yahoo in the world, that's not what I'm saying. But we all have those people in our lives that we know care about you. Those are the ones. And when I began to get honest with that person and allowed him to hold me accountable, again, his accountability in my life, it wasn't that he was trying to dictate and be my boss. I had given a trusted, caring friend of mine the permission to call me on my stuff. Why? Again, it's not because I had to meet their expectation. They're holding me accountable because I have a desire to really change. And if I don't change attitudes, nothing's going to change. Change takes intentional choices to be different. So for me, I started being transparent. I took off my mask and being accountable. And then I realized hard work works. You can't get around hard work, y'all. I'll be honest, our culture, let's be real, we're lazy, y'all. Be honest, it's so easy for us just to jump on Google to find every answer to every question that we want. And at the end of the day, yep, you may get an A, but not every A is an A. And this is what I'm saying by that. You can jump on there and you can cut the corners and you can make every little loophole and still get on the surface what looks like an A, but you didn't learn anything about life. Why would you rob yourself the ability to really grow in life? Not every A is an A, I don't care what you say. At the end of the day, you can't get around hard work. And this is what's amazing about this world we live in. Success, it's not that difficult, y'all, because 99.9% of the people out there, and that may be a high exaggeration, but it's not too high, the majority of the people don't really want to put in the work. They don't want to roll up their sleeves and actually go after their dream. We all like to talk about it. We all like to post about it. We all like to tell people about it. But talk is cheap. What you do is what you believe, y'all. And for the most part, people don't want to put in the work. And so if you can just begin to take one step after one step, slowly moving towards your dream, I promise you that dream, that goal, that thing you want to achieve, it's not going to be nearly as difficult as what you think it is. Because for the most part, others don't want it as bad as you, but you just got to take control of this thing. Hard work works, and hard work and learning to make good choices in the moment. Listen, you can skip school if you want to, or you don't have to. You can have an attitude if you want to, or you don't have to. You can do random acts of kindness, or you can pick on somebody. You can be disrespectful, or you can be respectful. But I've learned making the right choice, and we all know what the right choice is. All of us, in our heart, in our gut, in our mind, we know what we should and we shouldn't be doing. And the more I learned to listen to that voice, and the more I began to always bounce every idea of my dream of wanting to change the world. I wanted to become an inspirational speaker. I wanted to travel the country. I wanted to give hope to the hopeless, be a voice to the voiceless. That was my dream. And so in the moment, even in the middle of my terrible circumstance, I'm in prison battling all of these issues. Every day when I woke up, I looked at my dream and I said, I'm going to make conscious decisions to make good choices and not bad choices. And I say it a lot, and it's this way. In your mirrors, all my juniors, freshmen, if you're driving, I don't know if yeah or not, but in your side view mirrors, it says objects in the mirror are closer than things appear. And what it means, what you see reflecting back at you, it's not as far away as what you think it is. And all of your dreams and all of your goals and the things you want to achieve and the things you want to become, they don't start when you graduate. They're right here. They're right now. Your dreams and your goals are closer than objects appear in the mirror, I promise you. And so for me, I began to slow down and not be impulsive. See, in the moment, when everybody else is doing something, in the moment, when everything else seems like it's not a big deal, I had to slow down and ask myself the question, is this going to help or destroy, build or grow? I don't want to be impulsive in my choices. Hard work, good choices. And then the last one's the toughest one. The last one is one of the most difficult ones that we're facing, and it's learning to value people. You see, growing up, if I was going to be honest, and I believe most of us on the surface are this way, and it's not our fault. It's kind of like the human nature of who we are. We naturally, it seems to be, are pretty self-centered, self-absorbed, self-circulating around me, where I want to go, what I want to do. I realize at the end of the day, when I was growing up, from my youth all the way up to when I was 23, I would only value people if I thought you were benefiting me. If I thought that you could enhance my life, if I thought that you could add to my life, I could gain something from your relationship, that's when I would value you. If I thought I could benefit from you, man, that is selfish. And it took me a long time to realize I don't want to be a person who is self-absorbed, that only has time for people if you can help me, but I want to be a person that is intentional and is very thoughtful of adding value to every person I encounter. How can I add value to the people around me? I don't want to be the person who walks into the room and it becomes all about me, self-absorbed, this, that. And we all know those people. They walk into the room and you're like, oh shoot, I don't even want to be in this room with that person. We all got them. We all know who they are. And I bet some of us know sometimes that's you. So the biggest challenge that I had to really face in the man in the mirror, that person, was saying, I don't want to be self-centered. I want to learn to be selfless, because this is what I've learned, y'all. What you give away, you get to keep. When I began to be a person that was intentional of adding value to my friends, adding value to people, whoever were brought to in front of me that day, whatever life brought in front of me, how can I let every person that I come in contact with know that they matter? How can I do random acts of kindness? And it changed me for a few reasons. For one, when you start doing random acts of appreciation and kindness, it's like a boomerang, y'all. You throw it and it comes right back around. What you give away, you get to keep, man. People will start also seeing that you care about others. They'll start caring about you. And without you even trying to value people to gain position and to gain advancing in your dreams and your goals, when you begin to value people and be a person who cares about people, it always creates opportunity for us to continue to advance in our dream. It's crazy, man. And then what else I've learned is growing up, there was a lot of times people said, hey, Nathan, you have worth, you have value, I believe in you. And you probably have had those people, right? They tell you don't give up, we believe in you. And they tell you it over and over and over again, and yeah, it sounds good. But man, you go back to your house and you're by yourself. Those words, they're just words because you don't feel that way. You don't feel like you have worth and you don't feel like you have value. And so what I've learned is this, and I didn't even see this really coming this way, but I had such a hard time beginning to really have self-belief of self-worth, self-esteem, understanding that, my past wasn't my bigger than my future, that I could change, that I could overcome my anxiety, my depression, my struggles in life. It was so hard because everybody told me how important I was, but I didn't feel it. But when I started, even in the middle of all of my stuff, I committed in my heart and in my mind, I'm going to be intentional about letting people around me know that they matter. Random acts of kindness, words of encouragement, literally going above and beyond my way to let people know that they matter. Just being a good person, man. You know what began to happen, and I didn't even realize it? I stopped focusing on all the negative attributes of who I was and my lack of self-worth and I stopped focusing on all the things and the negativity, and I started focusing on who could I help and who could I pour out to and who could I give to. And what I realized over time, I stopped focusing on all the things that I could never change, and I realized what you starve will die. What you feed will grow. What I put my time and my focus into, it was always getting bigger. But when I started not allowing the negative lifestyle, the negative energy, the negative people, the negative influence, and all this thing to consume me, and I took my attention off of my failures and started focusing on how can I continue to work on personal development and helping people, I turned around years later and I was like, man, I really have this sense of purpose, self-worth, self-value. Like I was beginning to believe what people said about me. Why? Because what you give away, you get to keep, y'all. And so I began to work on these 5 areas of my life. Learning to be committed. Now these things don't just happen by accident. You have to be intentional. You have to wake up and say, today I want to be intentional of making sure I'm being transparent with the people that I trust. I want to make sure I'm being intentional and allowing them to hold me accountable. You don't have to, but how bad do you want that best life that you want to live? Because no one's going to care about your future more than you. I don't care what people say. Yep, teachers and coaches and mentors and parents, they care about you, absolutely. But when it's all said and done, there's only you, and no one will ultimately ever care about the quality of your life more than you. And no one's going to spoon feed it to you, but also nobody can take it from you. Put in the work, make good choices, value people, be accountable, be transparent, and nothing can stop you, y'all. And so what I did when I came home from that prison in 2013, about 6 years ago, after getting released 11 years early, after I only did 4, and I came to that hometown. And everybody said, Nathan, you want to be an inspiration? What? Dude, you don't have the vernacular that can communicate that message to persuade the audience and the crowd. And I said, you're right, I don't. And you're not the most gifted, the most talented. I said, you're right, I'm not. But this is what I know. Hard work works, and hard work can outwork talented people who don't want to work that hard. I refuse to let the fear of failure hold me hostage. I refuse to let the words of negativity hold me back. This is what I learned. I live by this, man. And I say it in this kind of a paraphrase. You're never going to know if you're going to sink or swim unless you jump in the water. You're never going to know what you can accomplish or what you are going to struggle at unless you get in the game. Some of you are like, you know what? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you know, can I just be real with y'all? Can I be real? Some of y'all just know your attitude sucks. For real. Some of y'all just know that your attitude's crap. You treat people the wrong way. You're disrespectful. Some of you act like you just don't care, but really when no one's around, really you do care, but you have such a fear of letting go of that anger, of that hurt, of that frustration, and it comes out by you hurting people. Some of you, there are areas in your life that you know you're neglecting, and you act like it's no big deal, and we can just gloss over it. Nothing's gonna change, y'all. I had to learn the hard way. I had to go through a lot of craziness, and I compromised myself, and I gave into peer pressure, and I gave into this, and I cared so much about all of you accepting me. I just needed all of you to think and give me your self-approval of me, that I was willing to compromise what I knew was right and I was wrong. And you know what it led me to? Heartache, destruction, disasters. Not only my life, I affected another life. I battled with an addiction, man, that about killed me. So I started living by these 5. And I went into that first school 6 years ago because I didn't listen to everybody telling me I was a failure. I didn't listen to their hype. I pursued my dream. I respected my dream and I went for it. I sent 100 packets of this paper around with my little promo CD. It said Nathan Harmon promo CD. It was terrible. Hard copy. Spent $400. And you have to invest in you, y'all. I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about your energy, your focus, your effort, your sacrifice, your attention. You got to invest in you. And I did it, and I spent $400 of my money that I didn't have, sent all these packets out here in Indiana. One school 6 years ago called me back, and 1 turned to 10, and 10 turned to 30, and 30 turned to 70, and 70 turned to 100. And in 2017, and 2018, and 2019, I became the #1 book school speaker in this nation. Why? Hard work works. Make good choices. Rip off the mask. Don't put it back on. Use the people around you, and care about people, and nothing will stop you, y'all. Like, it really is this simple. But we've got to stop blaming everybody. So I began that journey. But in the middle of that process, after 2 years of the first year, I did like 10 schools, and then we did like 30, and then we did like 70. And I'll be honest, man, I started feeling myself like, man, we're making it. We're doing good against all odds. And I was living in Kokomo, Indiana. Kokomo, for all the old folks up in here, it's not a Beach Boys song. I live there. It's where I'm from. And there was a lady named Tammy. Tammy, whatever. And Tammy said, Nate, can I come talk to you? I was like, yeah, Tammy, sure, let's go. I thought for sure Tammy was going to come tell me how proud she was of me. And Tammy was going to tell me how great I did and how much that she's glad I persevered. And Tammy was a business lady who was self-made, started a company from nothing, built this amazing organization, doing really well, an amazing person. And she was like, hey, can I come talk to you? I'm like, yeah, Tammy, come on. For real, I thought Tammy was going to tell me just how spectacular and how proud she was of me. I need a volunteer. I need one. Come on, I need one. Come on. Please, they're all saying you. They're all saying you. Come on. Let's go. Yep, come on, come up here. Absolutely. What's your name? What is it? Mio? Mia. Beautiful name, Mia. Have a seat, Mia. Sit down right there. Watch, y'all. It's so simple, and maybe some of you have seen it before and you need to see it again, but check this out. Mia, Tammy showed up, and Tammy said, hey, Nate, can I get real with you? And I'm like, yeah. What's up? And I thought for sure, no, she was like, no. Can I get like serious? I want to have a heart to heart. And the whole time, Mia, I thought Tammy was really going to tell me how proud and amazing I was doing, right? Like, for sure. In the back of my head, I'm like, stroke my ego, let me know how proud, like, absolutely. What's up? Be real. Dude, Tammy stepped all over my little ego, my pride, all my feelings. She stepped on me like I was a rag doll. She said, okay, I'm gonna get real with you, Nathan. Listen, you're missing meetings. Yeah, you did 70 schools. That's kind of cool, but you're disorganized. You're dropping the ball here. Your focus is over there. And if you think 70 schools is you making a real difference, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of other schools, and you haven't even tapped the tip of the iceberg yet. Are you settling for this? She said, your priorities are out of whack. And me, I wanted to tell Tammy to shut up. Being real. It would have been really easy for me to say, Tammy, shut your mouth, right? Not really, it wouldn't be the right thing to do. But man, here I am. I've kind of carved out my own lane, my own space. But here comes Tammy, who I understood was a successful business lady who went from nothing and built something. And I've went from nothing with no endorsements, and I was trying to create a space. It's hard to break into the speaking space, man. There's a lot of people that say, Nathan, there's a lot of more, I get this place in this space. And so I recognize something. I don't need to recreate the wheel, Mia. And at the end of the day, if I will allow people to speak into my life, if I will allow people who are more experienced that can help me so I don't have to make the same mistakes and the same pitfalls, you know what? Shoot, I'm all in. So I listened to her, and Mia, and Tammy said, Nathan, your life is like glass balls and tennis balls. And I was like, huh? And she said, no, life's all about choices. Some choices are like glass balls, they're fragile. Other things in life, they're not bad, but they're also not as important. And Nathan, your priorities are out of whack. You're putting too much time and effort and energy into certain things that aren't necessarily bad, but they're not going to benefit your life in the way that certain priorities will. And you're neglecting some areas in your life, Nathan, that if you're not careful, you're going to drop, they're going to shatter, and you can't just put those things back together. And I was like, okay. What would I do? She said, Nathan, I need you to prioritize your life. Like a very sober, serious moment when you really think about what's the most important thing in your life. And I don't want you just to tell me it. I want you to go home and reflect. What are your priorities? And there are the things, Nathan, that you say are priorities, but talk is cheap. What you do is what you believe. And so I listened to her, Mia. And I went home. And literally I got these glass balls and I wrote my dream. I wanted to be a speaker. Mia, if you could do any dream, any goal, any object, what would it be, man? What's your passion? Write it down. Think about it. Something that you're just passionate about right now. It can change, but right now, what would it be? You can tell me. Well, no, you can tell me. Volleyball. Volleyball. You spelled it right. I'm a terrible speller. One time I had a person come up here and they're like, I want to be an anesthesiologist. And I said, I was trying to spell it. That's why now I have you guys spell it, because, dude, I will butcher these words. But there's a lot of time y'all don't know how to spell your own dream either, so I don't feel that bad. Volleyball. All of you out here, how many of you have a dream and a goal? Raise your hand, right? Raise your hand. You got a dream and a goal? Absolutely. On this glass ball, it represents your dream, your goal, the thing you want to achieve, the thing you want to become. Now listen to me. You've been warned. If you put your finger in the ornament, in the hole here, it will cut you. You'll bleed. It'll be bad. I'll get in trouble. Don't do it. Okay? Perfect. Hold this, please. So then I sat down and I realized something else, man. If I wanted my dream to become real, I had to work on my education. My education was going to matter. And when I talk about education, I'm saying you must become an expert at what you want to achieve and what you want to become. Ultimately, what's going to give you success in the space of your dream is you being more educated, more of an expert than those around you, so that you have a better ability to perform the job than others. Your education matters, and it's fragile. So I wrote down education, hold that too. And then I wrote down family. Come back. I got more. I wrote down family. And when I say family, I know some of us, maybe we don't have our biological moms or our dads in our lives, but family, it represents trusted, caring adults, mentors, coaches, people, your support group that will speak into your life. Family. Hold that too. And then the last one I wrote down, it was character. And when I say character, I simply mean this. See, your character matters. If you don't learn to work on your character, your gifts and your talents will put you on platforms, will put you on stages, will put you in areas in your life that your character can't keep you. You may be gifted, you may be talented, but at the end of the day, if you don't know how to respect people, if you don't know how to be punctual and learn how to constantly to self-develop and grow, your character matters. I don't care how gifted you are. If you don't know how to treat people, you're not going to stay in your gift very long. They will find somebody else. How we treat each other matters. Value people. Hold that too. Now I want you to stand up. Come here, Mia. All right. So now those are the things, Mia, that are important in life. I realize like these things matter. Back up a little bit more here just in case, you drop one. But then I realized, there's a lot of things in life that aren't necessarily bad, but aren't as important. There are glass balls. These things are fragile. Your dream, your education, your support group, and your character. Those things need to take your time, your effort, your focus. But there's other things that we can do in life, but we can only do so many things. There's other things like, how many of you guys love sleep? Anybody love sleep? Right, absolutely. Listen, I was a master of sleep. I manipulated the alarm clock to a 15-minute snooze, which means that if I hit snooze one time every single day for 1 year, I slept away 3.7 days of my life by hitting snooze an extra 15 minutes. Do you know how much better in volleyball if you had a dedicated 96 hours just to actually serving or volleying or whatever the volleyball language would be, right? Sleep's not bad. Hold that, please. No, I need you to hold it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get this together. How about social media, right? We got social media. Nothing wrong with social media. Not that it's bad, but I need you to hold that too. Do you have any friends? Yeah. What's your friends' names? Nevaeh. Hi, Nevaeh. Oh, bye, Nevaeh. Oh, whatever. Careful. So we got social media. Nevaeh, don't drop her. Listen, are you going to hold Nevaeh or not? Thank you, Nevaeh. Stay right there. Who else are your friends?
Josh.
Josh. Hi, Josh.
Josh.
Okay, this is good. This is good. So hold on. Sorry, Josh. Sorry, Nevaeh. Do you have pets?
Yeah.
What's your pet's name? Don't have animal violence up here now.
Lila.
Sorry, Nevaeh. Here. There you go. Okay, we're gonna get this together. You can only hold so much, right? So we got some pets, we got some friends. Careful. Hold on, that's what you're holding right. What about what's a hobby besides volleyball? What else do you like to do?
I don't know.
Okay. So now look though, here's the reality. Right now you got all this, but what happens if you drop? Hold on. Wait. No. All right. Mia, have a seat. Now watch. Let me see. You can keep your dream. Hold your dream. Tammy was trying to show me something. Priorities matter. There are some things in your life that are fragile. Other things, like, Josh, man, you're cool, bro, but I got my education that I got to get done. And at the end of the day, sleep, you're not bad, but when I have time to sleep an extra 15 minutes on the weekend, I can come back. But see, my problem was, and my biggest failure and my biggest mistake was I had priorities and things I wanted to achieve, but when I was in school, I was notorious, but my friends wanted to kick it and clown and go have a good time. And at the end of the day, if I didn't get this certain paper done to get a GPA to have a certain grade so I can maybe get approved to a certain college, at the end of the day, I had these two choices, and it was always easy for me just to be like, and at the end of the day, once you drop your education or you start breaking your circle of your friends and lying to them and breaking trust, or you don't focus on your character, really what I should have done when it's all said and done, when my crew and my friends wanted to hang out, listen, I can't. I got something that I need to do. I can always come back later when I have time. Tammy was trying to teach me to prioritize my life. Our life, your life, as freshmen and juniors this year, it's all about priorities. And you can tell me what's important to you, but what you do is what you believe. And how I know this worked, it was when Tammy had this conversation with me, and I went to my team, and I said, I'm going to focus this year on being the best communicator possible. I'm going to focus on mentors speaking into my life. I'm going to focus on treating people a special type of way. It was this moment that I went from doing 70 schools just in Indiana to becoming a national and international speaker and became the top book school speaker in the nation. Prioritize your life. It will change your life. Give her a round of applause, man. You can keep that. Y'all listen, man. Check this out. Listen, y'all. Listen. Hold on. Guys, I am passionate about every single word that I shared with you. In this room. And we can laugh and we can joke, but in all seriousness, there are some of us in here that are battling socially and emotionally. There are some of us in here that are compromising ourselves. And see, when I talk about vaping and juuling, I know a lot of y'all are doing it. See, I don't come down on it because you shouldn't in school. I don't come down on it for most of you are of age to do it. I don't come down on you because of the health issues and they're finding out. All those are serious, valid reasons. But even on vaping and juuling, you know why I'm such a believer in you guys taking control of your life? It's because it's a compromise. And if you start to compromise on little areas in your life, you will compromise on bigger areas of your life. And you got to begin to understand at the end of the day, compromise is never going to give you the quality of life that you want. And I don't want any of you to turn around in 5, 10, 15 years and to look back and have all these regrets and all these what ifs. You're at a space and a place right now for you to write your dream down, to write your goal down, really prioritize your life, value people, support each other. My challenge for some of you is when you get home, when you have a moment of quiet, when you're listening to your iTunes, your Spotify, whatever you're doing, to take a second and to really write down something that you really would like to see change in your life. To really take the time to write down something you know you need to find that trusted, caring person that you can talk to about, to be transparent, to learn to be accountable, so that you can really start working hard, making the choices, valuing people, so your dreams, so when you leave here in 2 years or in 4 years, you're walking into the next chapter of your destiny, y'all. We are better together. I learned to follow rules and I've learned to respect people, not because they demand it, they do deserve it. But if I don't learn to respect people, how will I ever learn to respect my dream? Can you give your teachers and your staff a big round of applause, please? Listen, y'all. Like normal, I got just a couple minutes. I want everybody right now to get your phones out. If you got your phones, I got like 2 minutes. Get your phones out. Hold on. We're gonna take 2 pictures like we did last year, man. I want you to take a picture of this assembly. I want you to take a picture of you and the people around you. Real quick, take those 2 pictures right now. A personal reminder. I like that, man. Listen to me, y'all. Hold on, real quick. When you walk through these doors, man, change takes intentional choices to be different. My team and I, man, we radically record all this stuff. We're always putting powerful content out. Social media isn't going anywhere. We're here to combat it with positivity. Your Life Speaks is the name of all of our stuff. Our IG account's the #1 vehicle that we use. We have a Snapchat, it's not a very effective, but our YouTube and our IG are the top vehicles that we use to put out powerful content day in and day out. We have Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook and all of them, but it's IG and YouTube. Listen, guys, Where Your Life Speaks. I'm Nathan Harmon. Thank you all so much.